Good day, this is Teach Talk Grade 8, and again, I'm Miss B, and I'm going to discuss transitional devices. Transition words or signal words are linking words or phrases that connect your ideas and add cohesion to your writing. They indicate to the reader the relationships between sentences and between paragraphs, making it easier for the reader to understand your ideas. Our keywords for transitional devices are linking, words or phrases, and relationships. A transition can be a single word, a phrase, or a sentence, or an entire paragraph. We use a variety of transition signals to fulfill several functions. An example is it either directly summarizes the content of a preceding sentence or the earlier sentence, paragraph, or section, or implies such a summary by reminding the reader of what has come before. It also helps the reader anticipate or comprehend the new information. Study the examples of transition words and phrases. On the first column, we have logical relationship, while on the second column are the transitional expressions. Number 1, to express similarity, we use also, in the same way, just as, so too, likewise, similarly. Number 2, to express exception or contrast, we use but, however, in spite of, on the one hand, on the other hand, nevertheless, nonetheless, notwithstanding, in contrast, on the contrary, still, yet. Number 3, to express sequence or order, first, second, third, next, then, finally. Fourth, to express time, we use after, afterward, at last, before, currently, during, earlier, immediately, later, meanwhile, now, recently, simultaneously, subsequently, then. For example, we use, for example, for instance, namely, specifically, to illustrate. To express emphasis or to emphasize, even, indeed, in fact, of course, truly. For place and position, we use above, adjacent, below, beyond, here, in front, in back, nearby, there. For cause and effect, we use accordingly, consequently, hence, so, therefore, thus. For additional support or evidence, we use additionally, again, also, and, as well, besides, equally important, further, furthermore, in addition, moreover, then. And for conclusion or summary, we use finally, in a word, in brief, briefly, in conclusion, in the end, in the final analysis, on the whole, thus, to conclude, to summarize, in sum, to sum up, in summary. Now we move on to the guided exercise. Read and study the sample paragraph below and find out how transition words are used. Each transition word has a corresponding number to give you an idea to its meaning and usage. During the early 20th century, in addition to industrialization, urban growth, and technological advancement or development, Australian society was experiencing a transformation of the domestic ideal. Consequently, people were subject to an increasing array of government and professional programs aiming to manage and regulate life, particularly family life. Some of these programs were designed to counter social changes. Others were designed to engineer them. Overall, they each heralded a growing expert encroachment into the private sphere. Now let's discuss how transition words are used in this paragraph. The first of which is during, which indicates time. Thus, you can see after this transition word is the detail the early 20th century. So during the early 20th century. The second one is in addition, which obviously gives us the idea of additional support or evidence. So what happened during the early 20th century? The third one, which is consequently, this gives an idea of cause and effect. We were given in the first sentence what was happening in the Australian society. So this second sentence, which is introduced by the transition word consequently, is the effect or the result of these events in the said place or region. So since Australian society was experiencing a transformation of the domestic ideal, then they were subject to increasing array of government and professional programs. Now, which particular aspect of the society is affected by these programs? So the fourth transitional device, which is particularly, indicates the example or giving the audience the idea of what particular aspect of the Australian society is affected by the programs initiated by the government. So particularly family life. And then the last sentence has the concluding transitional device, which is overall. So that signals that the writer wraps up his or her ideas. So all these events and the results each heralded a growing expert encroachment into the private sphere. Since we're done with a short discussion of transitional devices and their categories, we can exercise our knowledge by reading carefully the article and identify all the transitional devices. So you may pause this video and answer this on a piece of paper. And so this activity is exercising you to identify or list the transitional devices that you see. Now for this second activity, you are going to complete the sentences with the correct transitional signals. So don't worry, we have options inside the parentheses to help you. Just pick the appropriate transition word or phrase for the sentence. You may pause this video so you can have all the time in the world to answer this activity. So if you're done, then just wait for my next episode for the answer key to check your answers.